Hi, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Charlitas. This is episode 11, Hablemos de middle school. My name is Sam, and I'm here with my beautiful colleagues.
My name's Alma. Pamela.
Luis.
Jair,
and we are sorry.
That is his name.
I was like, did I get my name wrong?
Sorry, Jair. And we are here again with a new episode. And like I said in the title, Hablemos de middle school.
La secu.
That should be a hint for what today's episode is going to be about. We're going to talk about middle school. And disclaimer, as always, what we say in these episodes, is just based off of our lived experiences. We're not experts. So what you guys listen or hear in these videos is just our personal experiences. So don't take our advice seriously. For today's icebreaker is, what is your middle school theme song?
Mine would have to be any One Direction song or Therapy from All Time Low.
This is hard. I don't even remember what I listened to in middle school, but I think it'd have to be Bossa No Se from Cuco or Lucid Dreams from Juice WRLD because I was a little emo.
You listening to Juice WRLD? Wow, I wouldn't have expected you to be listening to
There's so many parts of me you still don't know about.
that. Was
Luis.
popping though. That was
Still more
popping
uncovered.
at the time. That's crazy because like for us that was like high school, and for you that was like middle school.
Yeah, you guys are old.
That's
Oh.
so crazy. That is so weird.
My theme song for middle school, I think, has to be Pocket Full of Sunshine.
How does that one go? I can't remember.
I've got a pocket full of sunshine.
Oh, Uneasy. Yeah, I remember that movie. You got my middle school song. What did you say? What was the PG title for it?
Oh,
Compton City G's. You know, there's another name for that one, but by NWA. So.
No, it's Easy.
Never mind. We're gonna cut this out because I just made a really big mistake. My favorite middle school theme song was "Good Day" by Ice Cube.
My middle school theme song was the Monsters University theme, and Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
No, you pig. No, you pig.
Shout out to the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack.
No, you pig.
And so for this episode, we just wanted to talk about what we went through in middle school, because we know that middle school was one of those really weird eras
It was
of our life.
It was the weirdest part of my life.
It was the weirdest part of Jair's life. Why, Jair? Start us off. Why? Like from 5th grade to 6th grade. What was it? What was that transition like?
Let me move it a little bit back because I had a brother who went to middle school when I was like, I think it was like in 3rd grade, and we watched the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie when like as he was in like middle school, and I was like, is all this true? He's like, yes, all this is true. We did skins versus shirts, and you know when I got to middle school, nothing was like that.
You sure? No.
Some of it was true, some of it wasn't. But like the thing he did tell me was true was like the PE and locker room stuff. Like you have to. I was like, what? You have to change in front of everyone? Could I move on to the swim unit?
No.
No, not yet. You're
Okay.
skipping ahead.
But yeah, like for PE, it was like, dang, they're like training like athletes. Like we like ran the jaunt. The jaunt was like a quarter mile.
No, the jaunt was like 3/4 of a mile.
And then we did that, the mile, the pacer, a lot. I felt like I became an athlete in there.
That was your.
By the end of 6th grade, Jair was ready to join.
I mean, didn't you do track?
Yeah,
right?
but that's in 8th grade.
Oh.
You're skipping ahead.
Yeah,
Skipping ahead.
too far,
Never
too far,
mind,
too
my
far.
bad.
My transition from 5th grade to middle school, I don't really remember. I know I was probably really anxious. I do remember very clearly my first day of middle school. I remember my mom dropped me off, and I wore what I thought was a cool outfit, which literally was just a shirt and skinny jeans with Converse.
That's what I wore too.
And my backpack, which I only used on one side of my shoulder, which I don't know why I did that, because that backpack was full of the school supplies for the year. And so my shoulder was hurting so bad. I literally had to walk around like with my hands on my hips to try to support myself and balance it out. But I remember she dropped me off, and I didn't know anyone. I couldn't see any of my friends. So I just stood there in front of the school until the bell rang so that they would let everybody out. And I just stood there with my hands on my hips, with my very full backpack on my back, and I just looked around. And that's literally what I did for a good 5 minutes until I saw somebody that I knew. And then the bell rang, so we all went in. But I remember that because it was really, like, I don't know, weird.
You said carrying your supplies around, and I remember like thinking going into middle school that I was gonna have a locker, and that wasn't the case because you literally had to carry your full supplies, you know? Pero what I do remember was so horrible because I had to take the bus, and it was my very first time taking the bus.
Ooh.
And I hated that part of middle school because our bus always got full, and so we were the first stop. So thankfully, I had a seat in the morning. But after, it wasn't the same, and so you had to like squeeze with other people. It was the most terrible time for 3 years too, and so I'm like, dang, that was my experience, especially because I'm like the oldest, so I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna have to go through that. And I remember coming home, and I told my mom, and she was like, "That aguantas." I was like, "Damn."
I'm gonna be so for real. I don't remember 5th grade to 6th grade. It was a blur. I'm pretty sure I had an anxiety attack, to be honest, though. Like the day before the first day of 6th grade. But yeah, I was also really anxious because we had never taken the bus like to go to school. My mom would always drop us off. But thankfully, I had a cousin who we were like at the same bus stop, and so we'd always sit together. And so life hack, always have a bestie in the same bus stop so that they can save you a seat.
True.
Sorry, Alma. You missed out on that.
I didn't have a bestie.
My first day, I had a friend. She was like, "Oh, just come with me." I don't know what class I need. I don't know where my class is. She's like, "Oh, just come with me." And I went to some like random class. And they're like, "Oh, you're actually supposed to go over there, like down the hall." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Damn. For me, like middle school, I don't remember like 6th grade very well because it was around the time when I had just moved from Mexico. So I also didn't speak very good English at the time. So like that was like my like 6th grade to 7th grade was like when I was just starting to pick up English. So like it wasn't hard though, like to I guess like make friends and stuff like that for me. I mean honestly, I had a blast in middle school. I didn't really care. I didn't really care too much. So I was just having like fun with friends and stuff like that. That's all I can. That's what I could describe it as. Yeah.
That's so funny because, like for me at least, you know, we have mentioned before in previous episodes that generational trauma, right? And how for a lot of us, middle school, like we're the first ones in our family to go to a middle school, which is, it's strange to think about. Well, it's not strange, but it's just how our lives are. And so we were the first ones to go to middle school. And so then for me, at least in my household, like now grades were given, you know, you had that A, B, C, D scale that like you had to work towards for. And I was, you know, middle school is my full-time job. Like I was staying up late. I was pulling all-nighters for that science class in middle school.
For no reason to. It'd just be too color, but you're like putting your back into that.
That is so crazy.
I remember like one night, like I was working on a project for, I think it was like one of our English classes. And I was done with the project. I just wanted to make it better and I wanted it to look good. And it was 3 a.m. in the morning and my mom comes out of her room and she's like, Why are you still? I was like, I have to finish this. You don't understand. I have to.
I have a similar experience to that because I remember I would put my back into those science project poster boards. And I remember this one time we had to do a plant cell drawing, and I made it like super big. And I decided I'm gonna color it with color pencils. And so you had me the night before the project was due coloring it, and I think I ended up crying because I was like, why did I do this? There was no reason for me to do that. I think Alma walked in and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, you don't get it. It has to be good.
That is crazy.
Yeah. We'll talk about it late, like more más adelante, but the academic part of it was like I remember it was such a big piece for me because I was like, I have to do good or else I'll fail in life after this. When I was in reality, it was like, it's okay. Like you can chill. Like it's okay. And I know Jair talked briefly about like the jaunt in the mile. And I remember, and they never had us running out there like in elementary school. And then they had us, running the jaunt in miles. And I've told them before, the one time I decided to run the whole jaunt, I got a worse score than if I would have walked it. So that was really embarrassing. And Jair says that it was preparing him to be an athlete. I was ready to step back. Okay, I was like, this is not for me. I don't know. I don't know if you guys. PE was the biggest change, I think. Right?
Yeah. The locker room situation was definitely very different, especially because like I was very timid in elementary school. So going into 6th grade, and oh my gosh, PE in 6th grade was my first period. So I was like, oh my goodness. And so cuando they gave you, because you have to buy your outfit for PE, I was like, first of all, this is huge on me. Second of all, what do you mean there's no dividers? What do you mean I have to change and put my stuff aquí? I panicked. But then, obviously, like in 8th grade, I was like, you know what? You guys can see me. I don't care. Like, you got over it. But still, it was a very, I don't know, would it be like culture shock? Because I guess, like, in La Casa, I always had like my room. Like, I was always, I don't know. And going into those locker rooms, and you're like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Más with the swimming unit, because then you're wet and you have to shower. You have to change. Oh my gosh. And okay, TMI or like, little trigger warning, but like I remember having my period during the swimming unit.
Oh.
And, the teachers were very strict and they're like, well, if you're on your period, you still have to do the swimming unit. And I didn't know how to say no. And I remember like being introduced to tampons. And that was a whole like scary deal. Let's just say that I got so traumatized, I haven't gone back to them.
Yeah.
So
first, like, in our middle school, for PE, you have to change into your PE attire in order to be participate. And I think it was part of your grade too.
It was.
Yeah, it was part of your grade. You had to have the attire in order to get credit for the day. And so then those first few weeks were like insane. I was like, I'm like comparing myself to other girls. Like, why don't mine look like that? Like, And then after a few months, at the end of the year, they all of a sudden they announced, we're gonna do the swim unit, and we were like, what? So our middle school had to do a swim unit, which is like 1 week, 2 weeks?
It's one week. It's 1 week.
Where all the girls 1 week and then all the boys the next week, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
There was a pool next to our school.
It's a community pool.
Yeah, a community pool. So during your PE period, you had to go take swimming lessons, which really it was just you being thrown into the pool and like from the sidelines, the PE teacher's yelling, no, it's like this, go like this. And I'm
With
like,
the whistle.
I don't know why. Like, you come in here and show me how to swim, dude.
They wouldn't even get
I
in the
still don't know
water.
how to swim, by the way. Like,
neither do I.
Yeah, those lessons did not help.
no.
I learned how to float.
And I know, Jair, you want to talk about the swim unit?
Let me rant a little. So I mentioned like my brother did it, so he kind of passed down some of like he put me on a little.
He gave you advice.
He gave me advice.
Survival.
Yes. So like for PE, they're like, you can't wear tidy whities no more. You gotta wear some like more adultish underwear.
Like boxers.
Yes.
You gotta wear boxers.
And then like, you gotta wear deodorant. I'm like, my pits don't even smell. And then for the swim unit, he was like, you gotta practice like changing with a towel. Practice making sure your junk doesn't show. And then, okay, like months before, I was practicing. Once I got out of the shower, I was like, okay, I think I have it down. And then there was this one time, my towel literally almost fell. And I was literally like, my knee was on the locker, making sure the towel
Saved
fell.
it. Saved it.
And then there was this other time I got a cramp.
Damn.
It was bad. And because like Luis mentioned, it was a community pool. The first day that we walked into, like the first day of swim unit that we walked in, there was older people there swimming and older people in like where you're supposed to like get wet before you go into the pool. They were naked. And so
They're not afraid.
they were not afraid. And so like 12-year-old me was like, I just saw mature breasts at the age of 12. And it was very, it's ingrained in my brain. So yeah, that was like sixth grade. That was like the biggest moment of sixth grade, I'd say. I don't know. But also lunch period, right? You had mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, so like it was just one of the things that I remember the most about like sixth grade. Well, I went to like a different middle school than y'all did in sixth grade, so like, you know, I went to like one in Beaverton, Shadow 5 Oaks. If anybody's the Falcons? I don't even know. I don't remember. But yeah, what's it called? Like lunch was like it was like a different like style as to what I was used to having come from like Mexico. But I mean, like I said, I was just happy to be there and they were giving free food and stuff like that. But I will say, talking about lunch, sixth grade was the last time I ever ate like school lunch because I had a pretty bad experience that we'll talk about maybe one day. But let's just say that after I ate lunch that day, I never ate lunch. I just starved until I got home. So.
Well, and then you talk about luncheons, and then I remember that my situation was different going into sixth grade, but because there was a group of 5 students, we were put into the 7th and 8th grade lunches, whereas all the 6th graders had their own lunch, and so you have a group of 5 of us at a single table, scared because we're with the big kids. But the reason they did that was because I guess like our schedule was weird, and our math class, we weren't in 6th grade math. It was math 2 is what they called it. And so, I don't know, that put so much pressure on us. And then they isolated us from the rest of the 6th graders, which was even worse. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I just wanted to be with my friends. I didn't know that group of students. Obviously, later we became friends, but it was still very, like, awkward. It's like, dang, you're making this even more weirder for me. What the heck? So that was my experience with lunches. And then after that, it was just different.
And I do remember being like, after lunch, then you just like go outside and there's literally nothing. There's like one basketball. There's maybe a soccer ball. And then that was it. Like the rest is just you hanging around. I was like, I mean, 5th grade, you know, I had just come from 5th grade. So I was like, where's the slide? Where is the swings? Like, so that was also like a bigger thing. Cause now like if you are standing around, you're a loner, but also you don't have friends. So I remember like I was like not forced, but more like I had to hang out with friends who like, they weren't really friends. It was just because acquaintances, like we have been known each other for a few years. So then I had nobody else. So I was like, hey, I'm going to stick to you so I don't get called a loner. Anyways, it didn't really work out either because they're kind of mean, but it's okay. They called me a Cheeto. Yeah.
Why'd they call you that?
I don't know. And I think about it till this day and I'm like, dang, I can't believe I got called a Cheeto as a 6th grader by another 6th grader. And that has left me And that was probably the day I was like, I am insecure.
Oh.
Oh, wait.
Are we talking about insecurities now?
The pity. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Actually, good thing you bring up insecurities because I was starting to feel insecure because a lot of the girls were doing their makeup. And so I begged my mom to like start wearing makeup. Y nomás me dejó mascara and eyeliner. And that was it. But like, I was like, thinking back, I'm like, why was I a sixth grader wearing eyeliner? That was like too much for me now, right? Or even like my hair, I used to have it in braids like all elementary school until like I got called names. And so I was like, well, dang. And so I let my hair down because I thought that was going to be like make me feel better about myself. It didn't, porque luego me veía toda greñuda.
Right?
And so I was like, dang, they might think like I don't shower, but I do. But like, I don't know, that was my way of kind of like trying to make myself feel better. And so, yeah, you mentioned insecurities. And I was like, wait, that's where my insecurities started as well.
Unfortunately. And then we go into 7th grade. And I don't know about you guys, but 7th grade was like the reason why I am the way I am now, low key, because I was so naive and so like sheltered before that. Because fun fact, I had 0 social media access. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have any of that until I got into high school. So my only way of knowing stuff was either through friends or through the iPads, that the school issued iPads that we got in middle school. So 7th grade was kind of like monumental, like kind of like life-changing in like a lot of ways. Like I began to say swear words in 7th grade. I was like, eh. I was like dropping one every single day. I was like, eh. I was getting my sexual education from my friends and from the iPad, which is not good. It's just not good for 13-year-olds to have that, for that information to come from those sources, because then it just like it changes your brain up here, and it not only adds to the insecurities, but it like, I don't know, it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm not going to expose myself too much. I was going to say something, but I was like, I'm not. That's a little, that would be exposing myself too much. Maybe one day, once we get closer.
Okay.
Once we get closer.
Okay. 7th grade. That's like when I went to, can we say the middle school we went to?
No.
Does it matter?
No, don't expose us.
To them, I don't know why they think about it. Okay. But I started going to their middle school, and for me, my middle school in 7th grade, I, for the most part, like, well, actually, I guess I'm going to talk about skipping. In middle school, or like in 7th grade, that's when I started like skipping class, because again, at the time, I never cared about any homework I had to do.
You're a cool kid.
I was honestly cool. Like,
My bad.
nah, you guys are good. What's it called? But like, I didn't really care about like school assignments and stuff like that. Like, I was honestly like just happy to like go there, see my friends, like have fun, like, you know, like play in recess or do whatever. But like, as far as like my school like life, I was like, I remember I was in like honors English in 7th grade. I want to shout him out, but I guess
Don't say names.
Man,
You know who you are.
maybe you know. No, okay, yeah, you're right. He's not watching this. But my 7th grade honors English teacher, I remember I was in honors English, and then moving into 8th grade, I got kicked out of honors English. So like I didn't really, I wasn't very good in school, but I didn't really care at the time either. So yeah.
He is really good in school.
I'm good in school now, but like back then, I didn't see like the importance or like stuff like that. But it did hurt to get that F. It did kind of. I was like, wait, I thought we all didn't care about school. Like, I was like, wait, like there's like, that's when I kind of started to see like the difference in like, I don't know, I guess like maybe the people that I was the friends I had and like how we cared about school compared to like, you know, like the smart kids, and like them how they cared about school, and I was like, oh, like I thought we were all just having fun, and then it turned out like, you know, like people are doing their homeworks and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, okay, so
I kind of have the opposite of that. Like in sixth grade, I was like, yo, I have academic potential. And then in 7th grade, I got into like 8th grade math, which is a year ahead. And then I was like, whoa, this is kind of scary because I'm with 8th graders. And then like there was this one time like I just was trying to do homework, but I'm like, I couldn't solve for X and I started crying.
you cried,
I was like, where did the academic potential go?
bro.
But then I like, you know, went in for lunch, got help. And it came back.
You were
Nice.
advocating for yourself
Yes.
since you were young.
Yeah, I
That's
think
actually a really good skill to have as a middle
Yeah.
schooler.
I remember like, you know, going back, like I'm remembering like middle school and like just like seeing how like, you know, there was like, you know, you had like those kids that were in like the advanced classes. And I was low key like jealous deep down, like looking at all y'all like going into those classes. I was like I wasn't jealous, but I was kind of hating. I was like, bro, why do they care so much about school, dude? I was like, bro, what's up with them? And then you know,
I was trying to keep up.
but damn, I didn't know you had to go through that. So that's rough.
My 7th grade was peak, low key. That's where I peaked, and then after that, kind of went downhill. But no, because at that time I did sports, and so I had, you know, my group of friends with sports, and then I'd be friends with their friends, and so it was like I knew people. I had my group of friends. We would go to the middle school dances. I don't know if you guys went to them.
The socials.
And we thought we were so cool, but looking back in the pictures, it's like, what were we doing?
Nah, for real.
The socials. I think I don't remember how. No, I did go to both socials because 6th graders weren't allowed to go to socials. Only 7th and 8th graders, and I think I do remember going to both.
It was too, huh?
Yeah,
I think one of them was called the formal instead
Yeah,
of the social.
right.
And that was more like fancy or whatever. They like would
Yes.
dress up.
Okay.
7th and 8th graders.
Okay. I do remember that one then, because I do have photos with my friends too, and we were doing the most insane poses on the
That
planet.
is so cringe. I'm
Didn't
remembering
they
it.
have like games also you could play?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude,
I think
dude.
that was at the social.
It was
and
so
then the formal was-
bad because it was like, you know, you had like it was like probably 40 kids tops in the whole building at that time, and it was like, you know, there would be some kids like in the gym, and then I was like, I remember just going. I remember I only went to one, and so I was just like walking around, and then I go in like in one classroom, and like there's just only 2 kids, and they're playing chess, and I'm just like, and I'm just like, bro, what is going?
Two goats.
I think I left early. I just walked home. I didn't even take the bus. I was like, I'm just gonna walk home.
There was a bus?
Yeah, there was a bus
bus
that
would
would
take you. A
Whoa.
bus would take you, but I was just like, I don't want to wait here anymore. I'm just gonna walk it home, and it was like low key a walk.
Yeah, it was
And it was also like the people who like wanted to dance, and then the boys who didn't want to dance but still wanted to be in the dance room, so they would sit against the bleachers for the whole time being.
Peak.
Or like the couples, or
my
you
God.
know the couples who like went to the dance together, and like they would play a slow song, and then they would start dancing, and everybody would be like, "Dude, they're dancing! They're about to kiss." So weird.
But I remember there'd be like that big space in between that.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't like get close. Like it was like a rule. They couldn't be.
Oh
of a
yeah,
certain
there was a
distance to each
rule.
other.
I heard that in movies.
No, apparently there was a rule. Like that's
Oh.
why there were chaperones to like, you know, supervise everything.
We were getting crazy.
It was so funny because I think it was like the cha-cha slide, which was like the big thing, and then everything changed con la chona. Because I'm pretty sure they played at the social,
It was revolutionary.
and everyone went wild.
Thank God it is.
But yeah, I remember those, and I remember my mom was like, "Why are you going to these? Like, what's the point? Why are you going to these?" And I was like, "Have fun, to be with friends." I don't know. My mom did not like them.
I know in 7th grade too, it's when I became more, I mean, like I was saying, I was so naive. And so I became more aware of, you know, what was going around me. And middle school, I was like, oh my God, y'all are doing drugs? What? Yeah. And so like I saw, I never saw, but like I always heard of kids my age, kids even younger than me, like 6th graders and 8th graders, like all doing like drugs. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I know before we even entered middle school, our middle school was labeled as the bad one, like the worst of the worst in the whole district. And because there was so many fights and there was so many drugs and all of that. And I remember my parents being super anxious about like me attending because they were like, oh no, like it's gonna be so bad. But then I think my mom talked to one lady and she's like, actually that's found in all the schools. Like nowhere, no other school is different. It will all depend on how Sam, who she'll hang around with, and like what actions she will take, what her choices will be, and so then that calmed my parents a little bit more, and so then that's why they were always like, like like watch out and like don't do this, don't do that, don't listen to this, don't do that, don't give in to peer pressure or whatever, which I gave into peer pressure a lot, but not in regards to drugs. So when I went to middle school, like, yes, there were, the usual middle school stuff that you hear about all the time. Yes, there were drugs. Yes, there were fights. There was a lot of fights, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, there was, like, a lot of mental health issues, like a lot of self-harm going on. And I would come home all the time, and I would tell these things to my parents, and so then my parents would like guide me in that way. But I do remember like learning about all these different things that all these students at such a young age are involved in, and I was like, oh my God.
And it's definitely different than in high school because, at least in high school, there's more like counselors saying that they're going to be there to help you. But in middle school, I don't ever remember having like a trusted adult say like, oh, if you're experiencing this, you can come talk to me. Like, none at all. Yeah. And so that just added to, I guess, like the peer pressure around us all. Mm-hmm. That's one of the major things that I also remember. Because I remember, like, muchas peleas and talking about drugs.
Or like skipping. I was like, wait.
People are skipping?
Wait, what?
Like you voluntarily choose not to go to class?
It was like the dumbest thing. It was like the dumbest thing ever. Like I'm not, like when I say it, when I talk about it, and I remember like you talking about drugs. I remember like we got in trouble one time in like 6th grade because like they were vaping in the classroom. They were. I was just there. And then like I remember it was like such a big deal, and like we got in trouble and they called our parents, and like the teacher was like, did you vape? Like, did you do it? And I was like, no. And then, they were like, did you see anyone do it? I was like, I don't know.
You don't know that?
I was like, I don't know. So I remember that. I do remember, like, I guess that was a big thing. But for, like, skipping, like, I'm not proud of it, but, like, it was, like, it was, like, silly. It was just, like, I remember, like, literally we would get to school from the bus. We'd all, how, like, it was, like, before they opened the doors? Like, you would just kind of chill there, like, 10 minutes before you go there, before you go inside. And I remember, like, we would all just gather, like, me and my friends, and we'd be like, so do you guys want to go to Safeway? And our school was, like, next to a cemetery, so we just walked through the cemetery all the way to the Safeway. None of us we had $0. None of us had, like, any money to go into Safeway or, like, to buy anything. So we'd just be walking around the aisles, and then, like, I remember one time, like, a lady's like, aren't you kids supposed to be in school? And we all just like, we were all just like, all right, we gotta go. And then we just left and we just went back to school, and it was just like silly stuff. It was just.
Did you ever go to the coffee shop? I heard like girls would like.
Oh yeah, the coffee shop.
Before class started, they would go to the coffee shop like right across the street.
No, I was broke, dude. I had literally like no money to spend like anywhere. I was just like happy to just walk around and like, even, oh my gosh, you know how like our school was like, our school is basically like 2 halls.
Oh yeah.
Our school is basically just like a track. It's basically like in the shape of
the
like
principal
a track.
said it was a donut.
No, it was like and there was like that little path you could take in between. Mm-hmm. So like I remember like I would just like be like, can I go to the bathroom? And then like I would just like walk in like circles, just walk in circles. And then I remember one time a teacher caught me because I was with somebody, and that teacher caught me. Or caught us, and then she was like, just run. So we ran, but the teacher was fast. So she caught, and also she was like tall. She had long legs.
She ran after you?
She ran after us. And then I remember she went to like back to our classroom, and I'm dumb, so I ran into the boys' bathroom, and so she was just waiting for me outside. And then she called the teacher, and my teacher was like, "Come on, Luis, it's time to come out." And I was like, "I gotta jump out the window." I was like, "I'm not getting caught." So it's just silly, like thinking that like, that was like middle school.
Why is your middle school experience like so much better than mine?
It was just like silly because I didn't care like about school like that. So
That's and that was our introduction to Luis. I don't
remember him.
I don't
all right, if you want to talk about that, we can talk about that.
I didn't talk to Luis in middle school, but I have like one tiny blurry memory of just seeing a guy, a boy, walk through because you were younger, walking through the hallways with like your iPod. You said you had an iPod, right? And like his headphones with the gray hoodie, and he was he was like walking, and it was class time. So I was like, oh, this dude is skipping.
Yeah, I sure was.
Well, my first meeting Luis.
Okay, guys. Hey, this is a middle school podcast, not an introduction to Luis podcast.
I think it goes back to how you were jealous of people that were in the higher classes.
No. It wasn't like that.
Yeah, you know what? We'll keep it for another episode.
No, we can talk about it.
No, now you have to say it.
Yeah, you can say it.
Because there was, I think it was during 7th, 8th grade, they ended up switching our bus routes. And so we had a new bus driver, but mine was still the first bus stop. And then yours was the second one.
Yeah.
And so we'd take the bus, still didn't talk to each other at all. And then one time, because we had a mutual friend, and so he sat in my seat and he was like, "Are you going to the field trip?" And I was like, "There's a field trip going on?" He's like, "Yeah, the Mount St. Helens one." And I was like, oh no, because in 8th grade, geometry students didn't take that field trip. And I know we were bummed out about that. But I was like, no, because I'm in geometry. And he was like, "You're in geometry?" And then, he got kind of pressed because I was in geometry. And I was like, whoa, this kid is like, yeah. So that was how I first met Luis.
I was bummed because I couldn't go to the Mount St.
I
Helens
didn't know
field
you
trip
guys
too.
couldn't go. I didn't
No,
know you
it
guys
was
couldn't
only
go.
for just like the 8th grade math.
Why?
I don't know.
And then when I was in 8th grade, they didn't even offer it. When I 8th grade math, they didn't even offer it.
No. I remember that though.
And now that we're talking about like when we first knew of each other, I guess, like then we hit 8th grade and I had science class with Jair. And I don't really remember that year as much, but I do remember I like saw Jair. And I don't know about you, Jair, but I thought Jair was cool because I felt like Jair was well known with everybody.
For real?
I don't know, because you were so nice. And so everybody was like, oh, that guy, yeah, he's like super nice.
Were you really nice?
Yes.
And then with Alma, we had English classes. So that's how I knew of each of them.
I would see you in the halls too, or because I know we had the same math teacher. Mm-hmm. And so they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Sam," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know Sam." And so we'd kind of know each other, but we never fully hung out. Mm-hmm. When he says red string theory, what was it? Yeah,
Red string theory.
That was, so that's when we knew of each other. That was 8th grade. And it's funny how Luis was like, oh, it was just a silly little time for me to go be social with my friends. And then you have me on the other side. I was like, I have to make the honor roll. I have to get a 4.0 to be on the honor roll. And so middle school, actually, I got honor roll every single trimester.
Me too.
What's up, Jair? But unfortunately, it actually set me up for failure because once I didn't get the 4.0 honor roll on my first semester in high school, it my life completely ended.
Right.
I was like, I'm ready to leave this planet Earth.
Yeah.
And so it really did set me up for failure, that mindset of I have to get honor roll. I have to stay up all night to finish this project and get an A plus extra credit. Because it really did just set me up for failure once I got into high school on that end.
And I think our parents also didn't understand that difference. Because I was like, girl, I can't be doing the same work I was doing in middle school. So like, how can I keep up? Because yeah, I remember going through that too. And my parents were like, well, why aren't you making a 4.0? Well, it's not the same subject. It's very much different. So yeah.
And the content is much more complicated, and the level of work, it was like increased. And I know my parents were like, but you did this all the time in middle school, or like last year. And I was like, I know. So yeah, that it just is not good. That part, at least.
I wanted to say, like, I mean, I know that I wasn't like very good in school around those times, but like my mom was still like, you know, like she was just too busy with work, so she couldn't like, I guess, like keep that close of an eye on me and my brother. And my brother had it even worse because he was like in high school already. And so like, I don't know, I never had those pressures, but like, I guess like for me, it was like, it's like slowly progressing to like me getting better and better. So like, I never had to deal with that. But like my mom was still like concerned about me, but like, you know, yeah, I just wanted to make sure to include that. My mom wasn't just like, you know, she was mad and she was like, you know, on me about it, but she was just too busy to like be checking me every day or something. And then I got better. So then she never had to worry about me.
And I mean, and even when parents are doing everything right, sometimes the student has different priorities. So then it, yeah, there's no one person to blame, you know?
Because even I remember conferences, well, you had to meet with every period, you know, class. And so, 5 different teachers. And most of the time they didn't have interpreters. So my mom couldn't even ask her questions too. So it'd just be me and I'd be like, ¿Dice que estoy bien? So like, you know, like, so even if they did try to like kind of, I guess, help us, there was also that language barrier between that. And so there's only much one can do. So
yeah, I remember that too.
And then for Bame's 8th grade year, that looks like completely different.
Yeah, because we hit May and COVID started. We thought it was going to be a 2-week break.
It was March.
It was March.
Yeah.
Sorry, right. And then we just never came back. So like our 8th grade, because middle school, you have like an 8th grade celebration, everything. We all look forward to it, you know. We didn't have that. It was kind of just an abrupt, you know, goodbye. I know I was very upset because I didn't have my 8th grade track season, and I was on record to break the school record.
Dang.
And I never got that, but yeah, it was very weird. And so going into high school, you know, we were still in the COVID era. So it was I would assume very different from you guys because it's like, it was all online. So it wasn't that much of like anxiety inducing because it's like, oh, I don't have to actually go into the building and like, you know, try and find all the classes. It's all online. But going on about the topic of, you know, parents pressuring, that was definitely something I still experience even through that COVID era because it's like, oh, yeah, still have to make honor roll, still have to get that 4.0. And it was hard because, again, because our parents didn't have that school experience. Like, I know my parents, like, the highest they went to school in Mexico was elementary to middle school, but, like, very, very early middle school. And so, like, they just don't have that experience. And even if they want to help, they can't really because it's very different. But yeah, 8th grade, low-key was my downfall. When COVID hit, where did all my friends go? I have no idea.
And like in 8th grade, we also had a dress code, right, Jair?
Yes, we had a dress code. I had some of the hand-me-downs from my brother because he went to middle school. But then like, you know, they didn't always fit me. So we had to like go to Dollar Tree to get some like solid colored shirts. And then, like, you know, this is where I explain how poor I am.
This is just an episode of us exposing ourselves.
Yes.
The same way every day it felt like that in middle school.
That's That's so weird though, because I didn't have a dress code when I was in middle school. That was only you guys, so we got to wear whatever
They took it
we
off
wanted.
the year like after we left.
After we left,
we were all
yeah.
like, "Oh man!"
I could wear the clothes I could afford now.
but like in the last 2 days of the year, I think, or like every school year, they let us like wear whatever we wanted, and that was like when you could pull out a fit. I had trash fits. I never wore pants, so I just wore what I wore the day before. Honestly, dude, I can't imagine like missing out on like middle school, like for COVID.
It was definitely weird because, again, you know, throughout your whole middle school career, they like make it such a big deal when you graduate 8th grade because it's like, wow, you're finished with middle school. You're going to go on to high school. And like, it's this big thing. And we just like never had it.
Dude.
And it was like,
Not having that closure.
not having that closure, I feel like is the reason why I still feel 14. I do not feel 19.
Exactly.
Like, I still feel like a child.
I feel like I
So-
can relate to that, like, because, you know, we didn't have our high school. I feel like I am still
Yeah.
I'm
a
still
senior in high school. Like, I'm still a teen.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean I'm 20 something?
Like even though like obviously like I don't, you know, I feel like I've changed from like when I was in middle school, like, you know, those years where I feel like so like how you're saying,
your
like,
character
you're
development.
So like even though I'm not anywhere close to how I was, or like I've changed a lot, I've matured a lot, like whatever, like still that was like the base of like I guess technically how I am now, and or like a lot of my identity came from that. And like I mean, like imagine like being like I don't know, I'm just ranting right now, but like it's like I can't imagine what it's like to be in like have been in like 7th grade and like miss out on like 7th grade and 8th grade or something like that, and then you get to like just high school. Like that must be crazy different. Like imagine being like 6th grader and then like COVID happens and then you're like in high school. It's like what? It's like, dude, that's so crazy.
It feels like a book that just the last couple pages is torn off.
Yeah, somebody just
Just like where did the story go?
That's why, like, so COVID happened 8th grade, online, full freshman. And then sophomore year is when we started going in. I felt thrown into it. I did not feel prepared at all. I still didn't know where any of the classes were. The teachers had no idea who they were. And so it was definitely like, what am I doing? Like how I was there, but now I'm here. And everything's so different. Like that transitional period between 8th grade and high school, like you change a lot as a person. And so like all the people I used to know, like they're all different. I'm different. So it's like, yeah, it was just, I don't know how I got through it, to be honest.
That's crazy.
Totally different from like our experience because COVID was not a thing. So we did have that end of the year party and like we finished 8th grade out, and our transition, I mean, I don't know. Like you said, middle school is that it's like that period where you're
It's a time to be awkward, I feel like.
and like you're trying to find who you are, like your identity and what you like and what you don't like. And some people can stand up for themselves like Jair, and then other people can't. And so, and like myself.
Me too.
And, you know, and then comparing yourself to others' kids and you feel super self-conscious. And then I know at the end of 8th grade, I was super anxious because I was like, I had like a group of friends and I was like, oh my God, half of us are like going to a different high school and half of us are going to a different, like what's going to happen to our friendship. And like I said, I didn't have a phone. So I was like, I'm not going to communicate with any of it. Like this is like literally the last time that we're going to talk as friends. And it was the last time that we ever talked as friends. And so it was, I don't know, that was my transitioning from 8th grade to high school. It was just a lot of uncertainty and a lot of insecurity.
Yeah. I think for me, it was like another year. I was just like, it's another year, but I like definitely like I feel like that like getting into high school, like as soon as I got into high school, that's when I kind of started getting self-conscious because of like experiences I had over the summer that I was just like I had never thought about, like, and like I guess like I don't know, that's when like my insecurities started like kind of like popping off. And so like I don't know, like I feel like middle school, I remember it as like happy time, but like high school, then it was kind of like I guess I was kind of like in my depressed era or something like that, especially in like the first 2 years. I don't know. It was, well, actually, I'll throw high school, but but yeah, I don't know. I just became conscious about things that I just never thought about before, like that. But I'm still like, but yeah, like I don't know. Middle school is like definitely like you're trying to find who you are. You're in your awkward. So it's like I don't know. I wasn't like caring, But then I started to care. I started to overthink in high school. So that was me.
For me, like, yeah, I agree with the uncertainty of what was going to happen in high school, but I was also excited because I wanted to do a sport. And then I found a medical problem with myself, but then it's fixed. But like that kind of like, but that was more into high school when I was already in high school. So I was excited because I thought my friends and I, we were like this. And so I had a phone, and so we were communicating. And oh my gosh, guys, I went to my first party in like 7th grade. But anyways, and so I was excited because I thought I had met the people that I was gonna like be friends for the rest of my life. Obviously, that didn't happen because high school. But yeah, I just felt excited, happy, uncertainty, poquito, yeah. Especially in regards to academics, because I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be high school, it's gonna be more work and all this stuff. But yeah, definitely I feel like, I mean, if our prefrontal cortex doesn't develop until the age of 25, we still need that time period to be awkward. And I think middle school is the perfect time to do so.
Yeah. Do you wish you could have had a phone in middle school?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've debated with myself, with the voices inside my head on this exact question, because the second I got a phone in high school, I had no restrictions because I was older. And so then it was like, oh, I have the whole world. And then definitely like, I do regret doing some stuff and like with social media and then like just I like the whole world was at my fingertips, and I was able to search up anything that came to my brain, which all at once. I don't know. It's weird. But I mean, at the same time in middle school, I was definitely misusing that school issued iPad. You know what I'm saying? But maybe it was because I didn't have that phone access. I don't know. All I do know is that books were my way of knowing information. Okay, I was at the library every week in middle school, checking out books, and not only the middle school library, but like I'm talking about the city Vancouver library, checking out books. Were some of those books inappropriate? Definitely.
Wait, a Mac? Oh, shoot. I thought you were talking about the Mac library.
No,
He broke.
the community library. Oh my
Sorry,
God.
I never went to the library.
Yeah, I can tell. But yeah, like, I don't know. I always debate. I just don't know how different my middle school experience would have been if I would have had a phone or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just asked that just because, like, I think that's kind of like, I guess, like, that was kind of a time where, like, it became kind of normal to see like, kids our age with, like, phones and stuff like that. And I just bring it up because, like, I know for, like, middle schoolers right now, the situation's probably completely different. I don't know. Probably, I don't know if all y'all have phones. None of y'all have phones.
Snapchat was big.
But, like, for us, like, I didn't have a phone either. Like, I had the iPod, but like the iPod doesn't have like, so I'm kind of
Wi-Fi.
yeah. But I'm kind of happy that I didn't have a phone until the time I did. Because I was like, why would I even
Need one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It just comes back to that like insecurity because I compared myself a lot to other people and like they knew things that I didn't know. And so I'd just be like, oh, like, Mom, you don't understand.
Right.
I'm an outsider because I don't have a phone. And like people would tell me too, ew, why don't you have a phone? Like that's so weird. And I'm like, I don't know. I'd be like, ugh, my parents. They're so annoying, right?
Well, I had a phone and I wasn't in that stuff. So I think it also just depended on like the people you hung up. I don't know. 'Cause
Yeah.
I had a
your
phone.
environment. Yeah.
I had a phone, but like I was still very naive until like what everyone was saying. And I was like, what are you guys on?
Yeah. We just kind of went on a tangent about phone access,
Yeah.
phone use. But I mean, that was a little bit about our middle school lived experiences. Is there any final notes that you guys want to share, that you guys want to say in regards to your...
Shout out Mr. Stanley. And Mr. Stanley, if you're watching this, since I already said the name of it, but
He was
shout out
gonna
Mr.
cut that out.
Shout out Mr. Stanley. So
It's okay to not fit in. It's okay to wear a single pair of shoes or or a couple of pants for an entire year.
It's okay. Yeah, it's... middle school is not going to be great, and it's not going to be like...
It's weird.
It really is weird, and you feel weird, and like everything around you feels weird, and you're constantly second guessing yourself. But I'd recommend to like have a safe space, find a safe space, one that isn't online, because I know the second I got a phone, I thought my safe spaces were online, and they're not always online. So find that safe space that isn't toxic, that isn't, I don't know, false safe. You know what I'm saying? Just be careful of the people that you're trusting and the people that you're making those connections with.
don't skip school either. Yeah, don't skip school.
It's okay.
My only comment would be like, it's okay to be weird, so stay weird, you know? That's character development.
Do you have one, Pame?
Similar to just, stay weird. If you like unpopular things, I like K-pop and got bullied for it. That's a whole other tangent though. And now everyone loves it, but whatever. I was the OG. I was the trendsetter, but that's too much. We'll get into that another time. Just stick with what you like. You be true to yourself, you know yourself best, and just like, don't worry too much. Like everything's going to work out and life is going to be fine. I promise you.
And if you get stuff for changing, it's normal. People change every single day. So it's okay, because I know I heard that a lot. Oh, you just changed a lot, Sam. And that's okay. That's okay if you change.
It's growth.
Okay,
Yeah.
It is growth.
That's when you're supposed to.
So thank you guys again for watching this video. Please remember that it is okay to change. We're changing every single day. So thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like. Please comment. Please share. And shout out to...
Thank you so much for the Únete Foundation and Peace Health Community Fund for sponsoring this video.
And also brief shout out to our cameraman, our producer, Alexis, Media Production. He made these awesome shirts and collab with the Mariposas. Thanks, man. We love you.
Thank you.
Hashtag we love Alexis. Hashtag we love everybody who listens to our videos. We hope to see you guys in the next one.
Peace out. Thank you.
One quick last comment is that our Mariposa Fellowship is now open. So if you are a high schooler and you're interested, please DM us, email us. You'll find us on the website so we can send you over that application. Thank you guys, and we hope to see your application.